Math 2, Unit 7.3b notes for today. Thank you. So today, it's the same idea. It's just that sometimes we're going to find the degree versus finding a side length. Okay? So remember on anything when we are going through it, I want you to write out your SOHCAHTOA. Okay? So this one, it's asking you, what is measure angle Y? So if we go to measure angle Y, remember we want to label the triangle, but only label the sides that have numbers or letters. Okay? And so 41, is that going to be opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse? Adjacent. And then 100 is going to be opposite. And I'm starting from Y because they're asking me to find the measure of Y. Does everybody understand that? And so I'm choosing Y as my angle. And then from there, I'm only labeling the sides that have numbers or letters with them. So using SOHCAHTOA, which trig function will I use? TOA, right? Because, and that stands for tangent, because I have O and A. So I'm going to write this as tan of Y equals, and then opposite, which is 100, over adjacent, which is 41. So the next thing you're going to do is in your calculator, type in 100 divided by 41. And what do you get? Good. 2.439 equals tan Y. Now, no, that is not your answer. So you're going to get out your pink sheets or salmon sheets, whatever you want to call them. We're going to go to tangent. And we're going to look for a number that is closest to 2.439. So on the tangent column, 2.43 looks, the closest to it is about 2.47. Do you guys agree? And so if you go over there, yeah, what degree is that? 68. So that means that Y equals 68 degrees. We are just giving an approximate answer. So we're just finding what is closest. Questions?
How do we find that without using the sheet?
There is a way to use your calculator, but I want you to use your sheets right now. Okay? What? Will you get to use these sheets on the test? Yes. Yeah, you guys will get to use these sheets on the test. Okay. Now, B says reasoning. Suppose you know the lengths of all three sides of a right triangle. Does it matter which trig ratio you use to find the measure of any of the angles? The answer is no. It does not matter. Okay? So all of your ratios will end up getting you the correct angle. So if we had all three of them here, we could have used any trig function as long as you choose the correct sides. Does that make sense? So sine has to go with opposite and hypotenuse and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to put here no. Any trig ratios will work. Okay, so next we're going to move on to page 442. Okay, so first step. What will be my first step? Good, label. So we know specifically we're going to find the x degree, right? Okay, so now based on this, what is the 8 and what is the 5?
8 is opposite, 5 is adjacent.
Good, 8 is opposite, 5 is adjacent. Is anybody confused by labeling those? So remember, if you have your angle and if you draw a line to the side going across from it, that is your opposite. Opposite is always opposite the angle. And adjacent is always next to the angle, but adjacent can't be hypotenuse. So there's always a hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is very easy to label because that's always across from the 90. Okay. So since I have O and A, and I'm going to go ahead and write this out again, SOHCAHTOA. Okay. What am I going to use for O and A? TOA again. So I'm going to go tan of x, tangent of x, equals what? 8 over 5. Okay, what do I do now? Before that, divide. Okay, so 8 divided by 5 equals, so we have tan of x equals 1.6. So we go here, and we're looking at trying to find what is closest to 1.6. And it's 58 degrees. So x equals 58 degrees. Okay? Are you guys ready to try the next one on your own? Yes. Awesome. Okay, when you get the answer, raise your hand and I will come around and check. Go. Good. So go. 0.69.
Oh, it's that 0.06.
Oh, okay. Yeah. 0.69 would be. I got equal to 0.69 on the cosine.
So it's going to be 86.
Right? Okay.
I got 1 thing.
I would give it to you. I just
Wait, what? Oh, I used cheese.
All right, the answer you should have got was 46 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through that here real quick. So here's your x degree. 13 is easy. We know 13 is what? Hypotenuse. And then 9 is it adjacent or opposite?
Oh, I see it. I see where it is.
Adjacent. So A and H, I'm going to use which trig function?
Cosine.
Good, cosine. So cosine x equals, adjacent is 9 over hypotenuse is 13. In your calculator, 9 divided by 13 is 0.6923. Go out 4 decimal places because on our trig sheets, it's 4 decimal places, right, Christian? Okay, so cosine x equals 0.6923. So cosine 0.6923, our closest is right here. Okay, and so that is at 46 degrees. So x equals 46 degrees. Questions before we move on? All right, so now we're going to move on to the lesson check. And so this is putting everything together for all of Unit 7. So we're going to do number 7 through 14 together. Okay, so number 7, it says sine of A. So that means we go to A. And you might want to do these in pencil because we are going to end up finding sine of A, and then we're going to go through and find the B degrees or B angles as well. So when I go sine of A, and we're going to write out SOHCAHTOA, if we're using A first, let's label these, okay? And so 10 is my hypotenuse, okay? 8 is opposite, and then 6 then would be adjacent. So sine of A, we know sine is opposite over hypotenuse, and so what is that fraction? Good, 8 over 10, and that can reduce to 4/5. Cosine A, so cosine is A over H, and so that will be good, and that reduces to perfect. Tangent of A. Tangent is O over A, and so opposite is good, and that reduces to good. Okay, any questions there? Okay, so I'm going to erase this now because now I'm going to go to the B angle. So things change when you're at a different angle. Okay? My hypotenuse, though, will stay the same because the hypotenuse is always across from the 90. So when we go to B now, 6 is going to be what? Opposite. And 8 will be adjacent. So sine, if we go back up here, we know sine is O over H. And so opposite will be over 10. Hypotenuse is 10. And that reduces to 3 over 5. Okay, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, A over H. And that one will be written as 8 over 10. Good. And that reduces to good. And then we have tangent, and we know that tangent is opposite over adjacent. Opposite is 6 over, which is 3/4. Perfect. Okay, do we have questions before we move on? Okay, 13. Which angle am I looking at? Good, 39. So, labeling only the sides that are there, X is your what? And 15 is your good. And so therefore, if I'm using my SOHCAHTOA, which trig function will I use? Tangent, good. And so with tangent, in any trig function, we always write next to it the what? The angle, okay? And so we have tan of 39 equals, and opposite over adjacent will be good. And what is tan of 39?
0.8098.
Good, 0.8098. You could look that up on your sheet. Equals X over 15. We don't want fractions. So once we've changed these to the decimals, we want to get rid of this fraction, and we always get rid of the fraction by multiplying by the denominator. And so in this case, I'm going to multiply both sides by good. So that cancels out. In your calculator, you can multiply 15 times 0.8098, and we find that X equals what? 12.1 is correct. Okay, 14. What angle am I looking at? X. From X, 32 is the hypotenuse. And then 27 is the opposite. So therefore, if I have O and H, what trig function will I use? Very good, sine. And next to the sine, I always write my angle, my degree, right? Next to sine, you always need your degree. So in this case, it is X. And then opposite is 27 over 32. And what is 27 over 32? Okay, 0.8438. Is that what you guys have? Okay, and so when you go up and look, sine of X, yep, I would agree, 58. So we have to go over here, sine 0.84 is right here. So that is 58 degrees. So that means x equals 58 degrees. You just need to make sure you're looking at the correct column, sine, cosine, tangent. Are there questions?